Coming up tonight on YCN News, Claremont City Councilors learn that the former Sunshine swimming pool building will soon be torn down. An 81-year-old bridge over the Blackwater River in Andover, New Hampshire is being closed. And an Upper Valley school in Vermont is recognized for improving the learning and living atmosphere in its building. For more news, weather, and sports, it's time for YCN, your local view.
Now, your daily digest of the Dartmouth Lake Sunapee region, southern Vermont, and Windsor County. News, sports, weather, and all that is happening in our area. The news on YCN, your local view.
Good evening, and welcome to this Thursday edition of YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. The fate of two buildings near downtown Claremont took center stage yesterday night. Only one structure will be left standing. Claremont City Councilors learned Wednesday that the former Sunshine swimming pool building at 157 Pleasant Street will be torn down in a few weeks. The two-story old barn, its original use, is near collapse, especially at its roof. Its open porch is slanted from its age, about 84 years old. City Police Chief Alex Scott received court-granted permission recently to raise the barn. Demolition costs will be passed on to its current owner, a couple from North Fort Myers, Florida. Lewis and Karen Rivet's hope of selling the building, bought in 1998, never came true. Property records show the appraised value of the old barn at $76,200. The barn is 10,454 square feet, prominently occupying its location on Pleasant Street. An interior wall adjoins a wall in a next-door building. A culvert runs under both buildings as well. These factors will be taken into account so that only the building to be torn down does come down. In its first life, this sturdy building on School Street in Claremont served as the city armory. In its second life, it became the place where boys 8 to high school age could go after school to wind down. Now, in its last life, it served as the Junior Sports League, or simply the JSL building. On Friday nights, kids would skate indoors. The city owns the building. Until July, it remained a safe place for kids to relax indoors. After reports of the site being used for a JSL board member's craft business, plus a place for the homeless to sleep, city officials closed the building to the public. An inventory of its contents, which may include financial papers along with athletic equipment, will be done, the council determined yesterday night. The building will be prepared for winter to minimize damage. Any items inside must be retrieved within 60 days by residents or anyone who has used the building in the past. Proof of ownership will be required. Yet to be determined is whether the JSL board had the right to declare their use of the building for nonprofit or reduced tax status. An 81-year-old bridge that makes it easier to get from west central New Hampshire to the state capital in Concord is being closed 6 weeks for repair. The bridge runs over the Blackwater River in Andover. It serves as a connector between Routes 11 and 103 to the west and Route 4 to the east. The bridge, per the state's Department of Transportation website, is located about a third of a mile from the Andover and Salisbury town line. The bridge is on the state's red list as of this May. A 6-week traffic detour will begin on Monday, October 13th. Signs alerting motorists about the detour will be posted. Drivers will need to use Plains Road and Route 11. The bridge is 70 feet long, over which 2,400 cars and trucks travel daily. Known as the U.S. Route 4 Bridge, it was built in 1933. YCN News learned today the bridge will be lifted off its foundation, a step in its repair. An Upper Valley school is among 11 Vermont schools recognized for improving the learning and living atmosphere in its building. The Dothan Brook School in White River Junction participated in PBIS, a Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports program. This is not a school curriculum, but rather, state education officials say, a practice. Its goal is to foster the best environment in which students can learn and teachers can teach. Vermont's PBIS program is now 7 years old. 31% of its schools use this plan to improve academics and social behavior. When YCN News returns, Claremont's 250th sculpture is installed at the Visitor Center, and the Sunapee Abbott Library prepares for the opening of its new building.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. This week, Claremont continued its 250th birthday celebration with the installation of a sculpture at the city's visitor center, created by sculptor Ernest Montenegro and called Our Hands Then and Now. It is made of a collaboration of cutouts from various members of the community who donated outlines of their hands. Purely funded by donations, the sculpture is a work of art to represent the city's past, present, and future with the very hands of the people who make up the community. According to the website Claremont250.com, the official lighting ceremony of the sculpture will take place on October 26th at 7 p.m. Save the date, October 22nd. Final preparations are underway at the Abbott Library's new building in Sunapee. The library is closed to all patrons until October 21st. On October 22nd, the library will reopen. In the interim, people may use the Richards Free Library in Newport or the Tracy Memorial Library in New London. Both libraries have computers with internet connection that are available for public use. The grand opening celebration of the new Abbott Library building is set for Saturday, November 15th. A southern New Hampshire man released last month from a North Country prison may have been so happy to get out of jail that he didn't realize he was driving 64 miles over the speed limit. 38-year-old Kurt Giardulo of Pelham was clocked Tuesday evening by a state trooper on I-93 southbound in Manchester, driving 119 miles per hour. He also was passing other cars. When the trooper pulled him over, Giardulo reportedly said to the officer that he didn't need to send him back to prison for speeding. Giardulo revealed to the trooper that he had been released from the Northern New Hampshire Correctional Facility in Berlin 10 days earlier. Giardulo was processed and released from the New Hampshire State Police Troop B barracks in Bedford without further incident. The state police ask if there are any other witnesses to this incident to please call Trooper Malachi Hicks at 603-223-8674. Glare from the sun, especially in October, may be to blame for a two-car crash this morning in Marlborough, Vermont. The accident happened on Green River Road at the intersection of Moss Hollow Road, say police. It was 8:20 a.m. The driver of one car, 68-year-old Paul Redmond of Marlborough, was wearing his seatbelt. Redmond's 2008 Subaru Impreza suffered extensive damage to the entire front end and the driver's door. Redmond's car hit a 1984 Ford 9000 truck driven by 64-year-old Clifford Hale of Hinsdale, New Hampshire. Hale also was wearing a seatbelt. The truck experienced minor damage to the passenger side corner of the front bumper. Hale say police was driving west on Green River Road. Redmond was crossing Moss Hollow Road. Redmond stopped at the end of the road, checked for traffic, and pulled out into the roadway. The sun was so strong that it blocked his vision, police report today. Hale's car pulled forward and the two vehicles collided. Redmond was taken to Brattleboro Memorial Hospital with head and neck injuries. When YCN News returns, we'll join Upper Valley Chronicles' Ann Holmes, who met with Don Chabot from Town and Country Realty.
The YCN News continues in a moment.
Welcome back to YCN News. I'm Rose Spillman. Now Matt McDonald will have a look at our weather for the next few days and then move on to sports.
Thanks, Rose. Tonight we'll have partly cloudy skies with lows in the upper 30s and winds around 5 miles per hour. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny with highs in the upper 50s and winds up to 10 miles per hour. Tomorrow night we'll have partly cloudy skies with lows around 40 degrees. Saturday will be mostly sunny with light winds up to 10 miles per hour and a high of 58 degrees. Saturday night will be partly cloudy with lows in the upper 30s. And now let's take a look at our fall foliage report. YCN will continue to bring you updates on the foliage in New Hampshire and Vermont counties. Now let's see what's coming up on our community calendar. Tomorrow in Vermont, the Quechee Public Library will hold its fall foliage book sale from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. In New Hampshire, the Cornish Select Board will meet at 3 p.m. At 7 p.m., the Sunapee Methodist Church will hold a coffee house featuring musical artist Joel Cage. In Hanover, the Shattuck Observatory will host an astronomical observing from 8 to 10 p.m. Remember, you can submit local events from your community by sending them to news@ycnnow.com. Now let's turn to local high school sports. There were 2 exciting boys soccer games yesterday. Our local Fall Mountain High School and Kearsarge High School competed in a close game. Kearsarge tried their best to catch up, but Fall Mountain was the winner, 3-1. The Hanover Marauders faced Nashua North and dominated them for a 3-0 win.
Thanks, Matt. When YCN News continues, we'll join Capital Connections' John O'Connor.
The YCN News continues in a moment.